But joining me now is international security expert and professor of political science at Northeastern University, Max Abrahms. Max, welcome back to the program. I wanted to get your reaction to Donald Trump's comments earlier today regarding the success of the Iranian strike. He refuted very strongly these claims that Operation Midnight Hammer did little to damage Iran's nuclear ambitions.
Yeah, well, there are two different views on this. I certainly am of the opinion that both the Americans and Israelis did substantial damage to Iran's nuclear program. That seems to be the position of Israeli intelligence. The Americans, also the head of the IAEA, has said that there's been significant damage. Plus, I just trust the science. I mean, you drop 14 of those massive bunker busters. We've seen in the photographic imagery that the hits were directly on target. Now, you can't see, a huge blast, but that's because the bombs actually penetrate through the mountain. And I suspect that we're going to get confirmation that whatever was underneath or nearby those bombs was taken out. Trump, of course, has a lot of haters, and he has haters even within his own administration. This story has been pumped out by CNN and the New York Times that despite the science, actually, the nuclear weapons program remains intact. As an empiricist, I'll continue to watch wherever the evidence leads. But at this point, I think that Donald Trump is most likely correct.
It's been amusing to watch CNN in particular. I played some clips earlier in the program where the same reporter last week is claiming the Iranians are years away from any sort of nuclear capacity. And then she's saying, well, they've only been set back a couple of months. They could still have a weapon in a couple of months. I mean, it's pick a lane. But Donald Trump's success in handling the conflict in the Middle East has earned him another Nobel Peace Prize nomination. We discussed on the program earlier this week the nomination that came from Pakistan for Donald Trump. He's received another one today from US Representative Buddy Carter, though, Max, I don't think he's likely to win an award that appears these days to be reserved exclusively for the political left.
I've been very happy with Trump's handling of the Iran conflict. He's gotten all sorts of advice, and I think that he rejected a lot of advice and picked the best path forward. There were many people who said that that the United States shouldn't attack at all. There were other people saying the United States should not just attack the nuclear weapons program, but should go even further and to topple the regime in Tehran. I think he picked the best path by attacking the nuclear sites, but also knowing not to go too far. There are many Americans, I think very understandably, who didn't want another regime change war. And in that sense, he rejected the neocons, but he also rejected many of the so-called realists who didn't want the United States to do anything at all. And it seems like that both the Americans and Israelis have done substantial damage to the nuclear program without having American fingerprints on a country that could really go awry. I'm not at all sympathetic to the regime in Tehran, but when there's a regime change war, it becomes extremely unpredictable, as we've seen in Libya, as we saw in Iraq. And so for that reason, I do think that Trump should get a Nobel Peace Prize.